Done. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Charlotte Zitlow is hoping to join us.
Fantastic.
Great.
That
See,
is
there's an equalizer here because there are a lot of people who can't get to meetings or can't get out of home so easily.
Yeah.
And there's some significant side benefits. And we've got Bill Oates here.
Oh, terrific.
From Florida, right?
Right.
It's really
Bill.
So there are some pluses, and you know, may have to get used to this for a bit. It's not gonna, you know, be done in a month, probably, or 2 months. So this is a great opportunity, great way for us to still get together. I like to see you guys. You know, it's just hearing the voice doesn't count as much. Although Bill, you know, you'll be invisible. You'll be invisible for a while.
And I'm so glad I didn't put on my pajamas.
This is definitely casual. I mean, Alan, you've been teaching online too, right?
Right. I've been teaching online. Yeah.
And
And
so
so
you
the only thing that you have to really worry about is what you're wearing above.
Like from the boobs up.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as you don't get up, you know, if you get up, then you know, there's the telltale sign of what you look like.
Well, I don't think the police are operating at full schedule right now anyway, so we're probably safer than we would have.
They may have other things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing, if you have any trouble with the microphone or audio, sometimes it's easier to get a headset. The headsets correct a lot of issues if you have.
Yeah, the quality of sound is a lot better with even if you know if you've got those phone earbuds, those work really well.
Yeah. For some reason, I can't get a headset to work with this laptop that I just bought about 6 months ago. So it appears to be operational in every other way, but except a headset is incompatible with it apparently.
Huh. Well, you look good anyway. So just to let you all know that you can toggle between the gallery view and the speaker view at the top right-hand corner of your screen. There's a little icon there. You can, the top right-hand side of your screen, you can switch between the two different modes.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
And let's see, and you all know how to. All know how to mute your mic, right? So when you're not speaking, it's a good idea to mute the mic so that extraneous sounds from wherever you are don't get in the way of other people talking.
Especially if you have kids running around or a dog barking.
Dogs barking and things like that. And then you can also chat between yourselves individually, or you can chat to the whole group. If you go to the bottom of the screen and click on chat, it opens
texting.
Yeah, you can. It's a text chat, correct? You can chat with people.
I don't know what to do with the box though. It's blocking some people. You know, you can move it around.
Right.
But, you can make it really small.
You can adjust it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Good. So it's 12:03, and Jim, you said that Charlotte was going to try and connect.
Charlotte emailed me maybe 3 minutes ago and saying that she was going to try to get either Adria, who wrote the nice column about her today in the Herald Times, or one of her housekeepers to try to help her plug in.
Okay.
So she has your email address, but hopefully.
Yeah, I can call her and just find out if I can help her at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, Phil's connecting to us here.
Yeah, another person who said she would try to connect late is Susie Graham. And
Fescue here.
Yep, we've got Phil here.
Oh, Phil. Yeah. Hello, Phil.
Look at the different light in our screens. I'm facing a huge window, obviously.
Yeah. I've got a side light here.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil is muted, so.
Right, so Phil, if you go to the, you can unmute your mic if you want, Phil, by just clicking on the left bottom side of your window. There's a little mute button there. Or I can unmute you if you want. I'll go ahead and unmute you. Hey, Phil. Phil, are you there? Okay, so
Does
he's,
anybody else have the Brady Bunch theme going on in their head now? With
Yeah.
all these pictures like this? Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, right, Brady Bunch. I see Hollywood
It's a
Square.
story.
Did
Anyone
y'all see the
remember it?
video? I think it was on the news last night of people in an apartment complex, each with their little balconies,
Yeah.
all standing and singing and dancing together. I forget where they were, but I was like, you
Italy.
can't keep people from being social, right?
well, the
You
whole of Italy is alive with music. Everybody's playing music
yeah,
from
you can make
rooftops.
people stay home, but
So we need to alter the social distancing language. That's not what we need. We need physical distancing. The social we need desperately as much as
yeah,
ever, or more than ever.
yeah.
So Natalie, how are things at the mothership
All is well.
and the grandmothership?
I get her tomorrow. All is good.
And Sarah, your grandmothership.
Well, I'm filled with joy because of my grandson in San Francisco, but they're sheltering in place now. I don't think they're going to make it to the wedding. And Hannah's getting married here at my house on April 11th. Come hell or high water, she said. We have everything we need. And, people may come and people may not come, but as long as, she and Eric are here and his parents, if they can make it, and his kids, if they can make it, and me and the minister, it's happening. All the rest of it's just gravy. So
Is your dress done?
my dress is done. Hannah's dress is shortened. Emma, Eric's daughter, has a dress. Everybody's got clothes to wear. We've got flowers. I'm raking my way around the yard, which, as you can imagine, has lots of leaves to move back. But things are coming up. So it's all good.
Oh, and Ashley's here.
It's Ashley.
Natalie, I was wondering if you could just check your mic. For some reason, when you speak, it's a little mute, it's a little fuzzy or something. I don't quite know.
Aaron told me that yesterday also. I don't know how to do that.
So somebody's sharing their screen. Let's see what's going on.
Something just
Yeah.
happened to my screen.
Ashley Sullivan, it says.
Oh. Ashley, are you sharing your screen now? Let's see here.
Yeah, she appeared to be muted as well.
Let's see.
Oh, we just hit the wrong button.
My foot.
There are language issues. So Ashley, please unshare your screen, but start your video. That's in the lower left-hand corner.
Okay, oh, we're viewing. Okay, so here, let's see what we can do here. Should be able to. There we go.
Okay.
I just stopped her from sharing her screen. Sorry, Ashley. Let's see here.
Unmute her too.
Yeah. Let's see. I can't unmute the mic. I don't know if she's got her mic plugged in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yay. Yes,
Hi.
we can.
Sorry about the screen sharing. I didn't realize what I was doing.
Oh, it's a language thing. I mean, you did what made sense in the English language. And we all have
Oh,
to-
there's the foot.
Can you
There's
see
her
my
foot.
I don't know how to switch it around.
So you have to switch it around. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good to hear you, Ashley.
It's about your condition, though. That's a good image of your condition.
Yes, I'm in bed, but I'm up.
So we have somebody who's connecting by phone, it looks like.
18123.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard the latest news, but the 5 Catholic bishops in the state of Indiana have announced they're canceling all weekday and Sunday masses for the foreseeable future. No end date in sight. And to my knowledge, that's unprecedented. I don't think it's ever happened in 200 to 300 years of Catholicism in Indiana.
Well, it could have happened in 1918 in the
That
throat
could be.
flu epidemic.
Yeah,
But,
that could
yeah,
be.
this is a crazy time, and
Hmm.
I saw in an email Lauren reference to projects that we might think of when things get back to normal. I don't know. The normal is not going to be back what we had. So we're going to have at least 3 months of this kind of social, uh, physical separation. So we
It's going to
do need
completely
it.
change the way that we use technology as well, which is really interesting. I think it's going to,
Hmm.
you know,
Owen Johnson sent me an interesting article. It's a letter from Leslie Green
Yeah,
to her, constituents. Did you see it? Did you see it, Jim?
I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Saying they had a person who was very ill, who they begged and tried, a staff member, who they begged and tried to get testing for and couldn't, nobody would do it.
This is not the
Department of Health.
exception.
Hmm?
Sarah, I've talked to John Summerlot, who's an
Yeah.
IU, and they haven't been able to get anyone tested. So that's why Monroe County doesn't even show up on the maps.
Yeah.
For cases.
So, that was scary.
And two
Hey,
deaths
Martha.
so far in the state. So Martha's there, and Glenda and
Oh, hi, Glenda.
and we've got Phil. I'm hoping that Phil can hear us. Phil, if you can hear us, have a look at your chat. I just sent you a note, and you're welcome to just send us a note back, or me, or something.
So again, with language, chat is not actually oral chatting, it's texting.
Correct.
Just so you know.
And then go to the bottom of your screen and click that chat button, and you'll be able to open up and see what people are writing.
So Ashley, any news from you?
I'm just jumping back into work and trying to navigate my new normal of having a new hip. So nothing really super exciting.
How is it feeling so far? Is it feeling less pain yet than before the surgery?
I'll give you an update when I
Okay.
feel like it's different.
When you have
No,
good news, right?
it's much better.
Oh, good. Good. And Glenda, I don't know if we've heard you much. But we're glad you're here.
Lurkers.
So this is obviously going to take some getting used to. It's not, those of us who have taught online, it's still, I had a lot to learn here and have a lot to learn here. And Alan has been my tutor and just doing a great job. This is Alan's account that we're on. He's set up and donated, this space, and made a separate room in his account for a Rotary. And we can use this for meetings at any time. And I know that some are less interested in using technology than others. Some feel, really incapable of doing that. But we're going to have to get into this in order to get things done. So on any committee that you're on, if the chair is a bit technophobic, somebody else should be able to help to get things going. And Alan has offered to, to help tutor us all in the process.
Aaron, in terms of the roundabout, I know the Community Service Committee is midstream. Of course, it takes a village. And I had a conversation with Matt Stitzinger. The Scholarship Committee is hard at work. Is there anybody else that's
Good.
at work that needs to be either using this technology or needs me to say something in the roundabout that you know of? Anybody?
Well, we do have the delivery committee that's starting up that Hal Turner is on. And I wrote up a little bit about that in the non-agenda that I sent out to you. So there are a few things that are in there. And in addition, there's Sarah, you responded to Anne Marie Thompson.
Yeah.
And I do want people to know about that too.
Okay.
It's a service opportunity as well as an event. So, and I wrote that up in what I sent you, what's normally considered for
Right.
the roundabout.
Yeah, I
So
have all that.
She's asking for help with the book, I Just Kept Walking, and to start to market that again, because it really does have some role and some place in, young people's, young adults, children's literature. So
Right.
look forward to that in the roundabout and more.
What about the program committee? What's going to happen with all the people that what are we doing? What are they doing to?
Well, on Thursday, the board is going to meet and make some decisions about that.
Okay.
I don't want to do anything in particular without Michael Shermas knowing. And I did fill him in on the situation, but we are out of April. April at IMU is gone.
Yeah.
So we have 2 months, most likely 3 months, because over the summer, after graduation, there's not going to be a lot of incentive to, to change things very quickly, because students won't be around in terms of allowing meetings on campus. So we'll talk about that on Thursday at the board meeting, and we will we'll have to evaluate, and I want your input also about whether we can switch over to a meeting next week using this technology, an actual club meeting. We've got a lot to do. We've got announcements, and we have the roundabout, and having this kind of contact, I think, will help keep some people from getting that sense of being isolated and desperate. It's going to be worse next week. So there's more news, more closures and more restrictions, and so we need to pull together. And if this can help people who are members to ask for help when they need it, to receive emotional support when they need it, I think this will be great to have something predictable in their lives.
Yeah.
Bill Oates posted on Facebook an e-group. I can't remember where they are, but
Silicon Valley.
In Silicon Valley, right? And that's really interesting for people who are more interested in the asynchronous experience. Right now, we're asynchronous or synchronous. Asynchronous means not at the same time. You just do it whenever you want. So we have a meeting time. That's one of the issues we'll talk about. I'm pretty sure we'll ask Natalie to send out a survey, after the board meeting about when people would rather meet, when they would like to meet. The noontime, since there's no food, may not be ideal, but it may be, a best habitual kind of thing to just continue with.
I was thinking about bringing my PB&J, but I didn't.
Well, and you can eat on camera, or you could just turn the camera off while you're eating. It's we're not requiring people to be on screen if they're not comfortable doing that.
Here's Marty and Tim Jessen.
Yep, Marty was able to connect, which is great.
All right. It's spotty, Marty.
Okay, so am I, Aaron.
You can turn your video on, Marty.
But I don't see my own picture. Is that?
You have to turn your video on down at the bottom of somewhere down there at the bottom.
Start video, got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See if this will work.
Ooh, look, your box moved over.
Hollywood Squares or the Brady Bunch, right?
How small can we get? How many, can you have 100 people on here and each person just gets to be like little tiny?
Alan, what do you think?
What's our upper limit?
100.
All right then, yeah.
So what happens if the screen gets too full, we'll have multiple screens and you just have to move between the screens.
We don't get smaller.
Hey,
There's
Marty.
Hey, Marty. He's got the right hat. I like that hat.
All right.
Irish
Fucking
shirt.
hat.
Come on, I got.
And your
hey,
Irish
I'll-
shirt, yeah.
Happy
You're all
St.
dolled
Patrick's
up.
Day, yes.
come on.
Are you
So is this
drinking?
the totality here that I see 6 people, or if I?
No, you see have to see the little boxes with no pictures.
Oh, I see now. Yeah. Okay.
So we got 12. There's Ashley.
There's
Okay.
Ashley. She figured it out. Woo!
I
Turned her
figured it
cam-
out a while ago. I just didn't want to jump in too soon.
Yeah.
Okay. What about lunch?
Feel free to eat your PB and J.
Can you do that, Elaine? Come on.
Your doorbell will ring shortly.
Right,
Uber
it's
Eats.
a catered lunch, yes. I mean, is anybody ordering more stuff online now than they used to? Because we're making use of Amazon Prime and
Would
Vita
25 wedding dresses count?
No,
Uh,
25. Yeah.
and tried to order.
But then
some,
you have to send them back, right? So that's not good for social distancing.
Right. I have bought quite a bit online, but I usually do. And I went over to Fresh Time, and they actually had a big pile of toilet paper in the middle of the aisle, which I did not buy.
Can't get rid of the stuff, right?
Yeah, right. So,
I was going to say there's winners and losers, and the toilet paper manufacturers and the mask manufacturers are making a killing.
so I should get a
And
little
Blue
prize.
Apron. And,
Right. Yeah.
So, Jim, could you give us a little report on the district?
There's a district meeting scheduled for Thursday, and at that time, we will be canceling the joint district conference. I can't tell you how many hours have been put into bringing this district conference to fruition. And there's been some resistance. Some people have been, as you can understand, deeply distressed by the news coming down the wire, and they were trying to find every way in the world to save it. But the realization, I think, has set in now. We're still trying to sort out how best to refund the money for those who've paid. Some people paid online, using PALs or credit cards. Other people sent in checks. And with 2 districts and 205 people having registered, we're trying to sort through all that. But hope to have an email that will go out to everybody on Thursday following this meeting. Alon, maybe you and I can talk offline, but I'm really concerned about this meeting. There are going to be 39 of us on a traditional conference call. And it's been unwieldy up to this point. And that's when we have a meeting with a core group of people in person, and about half of them joining by phone. You got dogs barking, kids crying, etc.
And adults crying, right?
Yeah, and people stepping on and talking on each other. And I'm just really concerned on Thursday that it could be a mini disaster for people trying to communicate. I told them about this Zoom, but obviously at this late date, we're about 48 hours out. I don't know if there is an alternative we could pull off, but right now I'm really concerned about the logistics of it. But yeah, thank you, Aaron. I talk too much, but that's top of mind right now.
Well, no, this is a big deal. A lot of people have spent an incredible amount of creativity and time and energy, and it's a real shock. I mean, like having an event canceled like that. A lot of us are experiencing things like that. The disruption at the schools, at home, weddings,
Well, I think the next big shoe to drop at the big Rotary level will be the Rotary International Convention in Honolulu. And Ashley, are you planning on going to that?
Yes.
Yeah. So right now it's on, but the dates are June 6th through the 10th. You got people coming in from about 130 different countries. Looking around the screen here, Sarah, you were at a RI convention in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which actually was one of the lesser attended ones. Aaron, you were been at one or two.
Just
I know,
one.
okay, Martha, I know, has been to a couple.
She was
But they're
in New Orleans, right, Martha?
huge undertakings. They about 3 years of work there in putting them together. For the one in Honolulu, there's going to be somewhere between 20 and 25,000. You know, the hotels, the conference facilities, the transportation, on and on. So, you know, I'm thinking that RI President Mark Maloney is going to have to, and his team are going to have to make a decision here pretty soon. But with people coming in from 130 countries and the turmoil surrounding the air transportation industry, I'm saying the chances are pretty good that they're going to have to make the tough decision and cancel. RI did cancel following Katrina in New Orleans back in 2005. And as you know, Martha, 6 years later, they committed they would be back. And 6 years later, they did come back in 2011.
Oh, anyone else with news on what's happening in our community that others may not know about?
Well, the only thing that I do know about is what's been happening at Indiana University and how they've, you know, as quickly as possible, tried to come to terms with, you know, the implications of this over the long run. And right now they're planning through the end of the semester. I think it's unlikely that there's going to be any physical commencement. There are going to be no physical meetings on campus between now and at least the beginning of May. And then they're thinking, given the information that they're receiving about how long this is going to take for the virus to go through, it may be that the summer sessions are also canceled, which is unbelievable. I mean, if you think of all the students who need to complete their degrees, and the students were in the middle of learning about everything, and the entire community is being completely broken apart. And there's a lot of trauma. A lot of students are writing in on Facebook about how devastated they are that they're just not going to be able to say goodbye to anybody.
Right. I emailed with Maren McClellan, the president of the Rotary Club, and she's safe and sound in Ohio, to the extent that anyone's safe and sound anywhere. But that's students are mostly gone. The international students, Alan, what's your understanding of what they're doing?
Yeah, so the international, if they can essentially prove that they're that they're unable to move, that they're unable to go back, and they have nowhere to stay around the community or around the United States, the university will make it possible for them to stay on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're closing the dorms. We got notification because my daughter Catherine's at Reed, and so we got notification from them that they're officially closing it on the 20th. And between now and then, everybody has to identify where they are, whether or not they're unable to leave campus or have left campus. And then the university is going to be coordinating with each student and setting up a set of time slots in which they can go in and retrieve their materials, their books, and all the things that they have in their dorm rooms. And then the university has also committed to send any belongings to any student anywhere in the world.
My daughter is chairing that coronavirus emergency task force, and you know, it's just incredible, the level of detail and the number of things that have to be worked out and resolved somehow. I think it's a moment for everyone with a master's in public health. I was reflecting this morning how lucky we are to have a president of our Rotary Club this year who has a master's in public health. Thank you, Aaron, for bringing that, you know, professional expertise to our club.
Yeah. Well,
Anyone know what other clubs are doing? I would be very interested. Obviously, Sarah, you're our assistant governor, but do you know what Sunrise is elected to do? What North?
I don't, but I do know that Bedford is canceled.
Mhm.
North said they canceled for
I think, yes, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I've seen Brian's newsletter. They're canceled. I am fairly sure that Sunrise would do the same thing.
Yeah, they
Well,
can't.
they have a smaller number, and
They do have a smaller number.
I don't
But-
know. I mean, they're more than 10, but they're certainly under 50.
But they can't meet at the Village Deli, so they have canceled.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, they've been canceled?
Yes.
Okay.
looking at the calendar, June 27th right now is scheduled to be the annual changeover at the district level. So that's when Santana, in essence, would hand over the reins to Jessica Hain, who would become our district governor. I know that Santana, for him, I guess for all of us who've worked on the district conference, it's really a bitter pill to swallow. But for Santana, for his counterpart in Central Indiana, Charles Shoemate, it's especially difficult. I think Santana the other day was saying, "What am I going to do to let people know how much I appreciate what they did?" I mean, the Aaron Davises, the Brian Haynes, those the assistant governors, and I think the plan right now is for the changeover to be extended by about a half hour. The first half hour of it may be thank you for everything you've done in 2019-20. You have lunch, and then you come back to hand over the reins to Jessica. But I think that's the current plan now for the changeover, and to give Santana an opportunity to thank those people, many people who he wants to. I mean, it's in so many ways, for so many clubs, for our district, it's been a good year. And with the district conference, an opportunity going away, there's not the usual event for Santana to be able to do that. So.
Right. Santana did say that he was going to try to stop by at this meeting, but he's so busy. In his life, what happened, and Jim, you know well, that his work went crazy shortly after he became district governor, and he just has not had much extra time. And so there are a lot of demands placed on him there and here, and then the cancellations now. It's been a rough year. So we also have so much gratitude to send to Santana and to Jim Bright, for all
the club presidents, I think the assistant governors, and for the first time this year, we have an executive administrator in Betty Dunham, who's a past district governor, so she knows her way around. And Betty has also been serving as the overall chair of the district conference. So we've been very lucky to have Betty, as has Santana, and now as will Jessica Hain going forward. The thinking was, in bringing aboard an executive administrator, is that it may make it possible for some younger working people with families to step up and serve as district governor or in senior district roles. And
of course, it takes some time for her to get used to the new role. And I know there's so much complexity in the dealings that the district has with international and the zone. So there's a lot for her too.
Having served as district governor, it was very difficult. I cannot imagine someone in Santana's shoes with a family, young son, and the demands on him from his daytime employer, Indiana State, to try to step into that role without a Betty. I cannot imagine somebody trying to step in the role without a Natalie, to be there to help keep things going.
Right.
There's just a technical thing here. I'm trying to get Glenda to be heard. She sent me a note to say that she can't be heard, and it's possible that her mic's not there. So Glenda, could you let us know if you're speaking? Okay, it seems like the mic's not working. Okay, sorry. You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I did want to explain and just state again that our communications committee is moving front and center in a lot of ways. So I have special thanks for Alan Barker and Katie Beck and the committee. So we're going to be seeing and hearing more from them on social media, and Natalie on the website. There's just a lot that's going on. So we are not shut down. And all of you here, I'm asking you to spread the word that you went to this meeting, and that it's a thing. It's not just a pipe dream. It's not just some futuristic idea. So we are. I would like to do some announcements. I think somebody had sent a chat. Glenda could type her comments. Okay, Bill mentioned that. Okay.
Good idea.
And then because we have birthdays this week, we have nobody here, I guess, but Scott Shackelford, March 16th, yesterday. Dick Rose, March 19th. And then Monica Kroner. And then membership anniversaries, Sandy Keller, 3 years, 1 year with our club now. And she's interested in the Fun and Fellowship Committee. So I'm hoping to get somebody else to co-chair the Fun and Fellowship with her. Then Jeff Baldwin has his 6th anniversary. Shelley Yoder, her 7th anniversary. Steve Moberly, his 13th. And as Jim Bright sent out, Jim is so great with sending, the Rotarians in the news kinds of information, as is Sarah, but about Charlotte Zitlow being mentioned, importantly mentioned in the column in today's HT, and then Leslie Green's concerns, which are, it's really frustrating. People are not getting any, there aren't apparently, according to Southern Indiana IU Health, they don't have any test kits in this region. So no wonder we're all just fine.
We're healthy. We're fine.
So I wanted to.
I see that Glenda's written in a note here, so I want to just quickly say she wanted to talk about if there's a way that we can help with the food train mentioned in today's paper or the MCCSC food program. She's very concerned about the number of people who survive paycheck to paycheck.
Well, I mean, we need to run that through. Well, first of all, Natalie, do you have any background with those programs? Anyone else have direct connections?
Is it to volunteer, or is it cash?
I'll let Glenda, if you want to just go ahead and respond. Everybody, you can switch on the chat. If you just go to the bottom of your screen and click chat, you'll be able to see the messages come through.
I'm not seeing any messages.
Yeah, nor am I.
She's typing.
Okay, so probably the ones that have been sent through you can't see. And so Glenda's, it says chat. Here we go. Did you see that one?
That was Martha's, yes.
Yeah, and here's a chat. So I'm just gonna grab Glenda's.
And in the meantime, I also want to mention that we have several Paul Harris Fellows to be inducted, and we have 2 new members to be inducted. So, I mean, we're not waiting 3 months for this. We'll have to figure out something, and we'll talk about this at the board meeting. So Becky Jessner with Youth First is a member, and Bill Brown is a member. They're not inducted yet. Natalie, is there anything holding that back, or?
They're good to go.
They're good to go. We just need to arrange the inductions. We are, as I mentioned, organizing a delivery committee chaired by Hal Turner for our members who need help getting supplies into their homes. Hal Turner is chairing it, and Katie Beck and Steve Engel have both volunteered to do some deliveries. And we have more after the roundabout goes out. You know, we'll hopefully have more people expressing an interest, especially younger members. And that's a great way to get involved. You all know the Women's History Month was canceled. And so please spread the word about this being a real way to have not just a committee meeting or a discussion, but probably, you know, a full meeting. Now, Alan, if we were doing a full meeting and we had a speaker or maybe, you know, a couple of reflections instead of a full speaker, how would this configure differently?
It would work exactly the same. It would work exactly the same. And the only difference is that if the speaker wants to share anything, they just go down to the bottom of their screen and share screen. So it works exactly. And we can also suggest to people that they change the speaker view at the top right-hand side of their screen, I mean, the gallery view, excuse me, to the speaker view, so that whoever's talking gets the full screen on their computer or their mobile device.
And they can do a PowerPoint.
Yeah, they can do PowerPoint. Video is a little iffy, so it's best not to do any moving images, but they can certainly show a slideshow, they can do a PowerPoint presentation, they can show documents, they can do anything like that.
Well, does anyone have thoughts about the future of this technology with meetings?
Aaron, this is Bill Oates. Did you look at, go step through the Silicon Valley eClub meeting that's online? I had the opportunity 5 years ago to have a dinner in Evansville at a technology conference with the founding or charter president of the eClub. It's been in existence for 5 years, operating very successfully. It's an interesting model. That's why I put it up, of course. But I'm just thinking that while it doesn't have anything to do with our club and our people, as I'm experiencing this Zoom deal here, one thing we could try until we get our model for a meeting set up pretty well is to have a meeting like this, and one person, maybe you controlling it, step through the meeting they're presenting. We all can experience it together, and then at the end of that, we could have our own discussions or announcements and things like that too. Just a thought.
No, there are different ways to learn, and one of those is looking at, you know, people and groups who have tried it before. And I did scroll through it, and it's really, really interesting. Very well done. Now, noting that it's asynchronous, so it's not live. People just do it whenever they can. And that
my suggestion is to make it synchronous by doing it by one person that's part of our Zoom here, having it up, sharing that screen, and we all experience that otherwise asynchronous presentation together, and then we're still all together for our own Bloomington related comments and discussion before or after that.
No, I think that's good, and that would create more discussion, which is great, and that's something that's very very useful and adapted, a good adaptation for this situation.
Aaron, I'm wondering if we could have a program during our hiatus here with some people from that eClub talking about how it works. Just, you know, I mean, we should be able to do it, right? Because
they're meeting this week. If you go and go through that link, and you have to scroll down through the four-way test and this,
club
that, and
is
the other
it?
thing.
What club is it?
The link is https:// Silicon Valley, www.Silicon Valley Rotary.
It's on the
And then
Facebook page.
also add the / you can have meeting -3-16-2020, and it'll take you directly to that meeting. That if you scroll down 3/4 of the way through the meeting, the video there that of this particular meeting of this week is what you're asking for. It's for other clubs that haven't had this experience, explaining what they do and how they do it, and why it works. So
That's good. Let's look at that and
You know
we'll
what's
talk about that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the website right now. What's interesting to me is that they're using Zoom.
Okay.
And it looks like what they do is they record their meetings and then they put it up online.
And this is being recorded, by the way.
Yeah,
So
this is
we
being
will have
recorded right
this
now.
for others to be able to view.
Thank you for sharing. Mhm.
Ashley?
Thank you, Alan, for sharing that link, and Bill. I'd like to jump back to Glenda's comment about the MCCSC food program and the food train. If anybody has any more information, I think we need all the information we can get and all the ideas we can get to bring to the board on Thursday for how we're going to help in the interim before we can meet together again. I'm very interested in the MCCSC food program and the food train. I'm not familiar with what the food train was. I didn't take today's paper. So any more information anybody has, I know we'd all love to hear and help however we can.
And
I
we'll see
saw,
what Sarah can find out for and put in the roundabout. too.
yeah, that would be perfect. Thank you.
Anything else, Ashley?
Just the Meals on Wheels program, those kind of things. I've seen a lot of need pop up for people that regularly volunteer that are ill, that can't help. And I think that would be the perfect way for us to jump in,
And
staying
you
safe
posted
ourselves.
that on
but-
the Facebook page. And the other thing I really want to encourage people is to use the Facebook group that we have up there, because like Ashley posted that information on Meals and Wheels needing volunteers, and we have the form up there, the volunteer form, up there on the website. So that's a really effective way, but yet we're not getting as much traffic as we need from the club on the Facebook group. So if you can spread the word on that, just telling people that you had some experience with it, emailing around. We all have the directories now, right? So you don't have to depend on DACDB, which a lot of people are still afraid of. You have the directory, so feel free to contact people. It's really important to be pro-social at this point in time.
And Bill, I wanted to thank you for pointing us to that Silicon Valley Club, because I see that their newsletter is actually integrated into their news website. I'm just sharing a link with everybody. And it's basically using their blog system. And they have a lot of really cool stuff for the week, something along the lines of what we do with our roundabout. But you may want to have a look at that for some ideas of how they're sharing information.
Okay, Alan, I had a technical question about the platform. How do we do the pledge? How do we recite the four-way test? Can we have everyone talking at once?
I
Just
suspect
face
what
your
we'll have to
monitor
do-
and say the four-way test at the
we
end.
can, I mean, I think we could give it a go right now. We could try and see what
Yeah.
happens. Just everybody switch on their mic and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we do the four-way test?
Good, if you want to lead us.
Sure. Are we
Yeah.
done?
Are we done with the meeting?
Nah, I do want to read two quotes, but let me read the quotes then first, and then we can just close the meeting as if it were a meeting. So the one quote is from Michael Levitt, who is a former Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services and the former Republican governor of Utah. And he said, "We don't know when a pandemic might strike, but we can be sure of two things. Everything we do before a pandemic will seem alarmist. Everything we do after a pandemic will seem inadequate." This is the difference, the dilemma we face, but it should not stop us from doing what we can to prepare. We need to reach out to everyone with words that inform but not inflame. We need to encourage everyone to prepare but not panic. So Martha sent me that quote, and it's pretty relevant. And then for me, we're hearing the term social distancing a lot these days in terms of avoiding and slowing the spread of the novel coronavirus. However, our club, while practicing physical distancing, is continuing our engagement, our social engagement and service above self. So thank you all. And I think I'll hang around to see if anybody else has things to say or anyone else shows up. But let's, we don't have to rise. Just reset the four-way test.
Actually, before we do the test, I want to ask you guys just do one thing. I'm going to ask you all to applaud Aaron for leading the meeting by going to your reactions at the bottom of the screen and clicking on applause. There we go.
Don't see it.
I don't see that.
If you go to reactions, the icons on the bottom of your screen, you may have to click more depending on whether you see it or not.
You have to move the cursor down there to see it.
I don't have it.
Thank you.
Martha, are you on an iPad?
I'm on a PC laptop.
Oh, well then if you just go to the bottom of your window,
Yeah.
there are a bunch of icons, and then there should be one called reactions.
There's not.
No, I don't have one either.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Well,
thank you. Sound of one hand clapping, right?
to do this one.
We could just go, hooray!
Thank you all. So are we ready to close with the four-way test? Okay. Of the things we think, say, or do, first,
Is it
the truth.
Second,
fair to all?
Fair to all concerned.
Third,
Will it
goodwill,
goodwill, and better friendships.
fourth, will it be
Fourth, will it
beneficial?
be beneficial to all concerned.
And
And fifth, is
Is
it
it?
fun?
I think it's trying to figure out which one of us is talking.
It sort of worked.
good.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all. I'm really glad and happy to see you.
Very happy to see you. Getting a little bit house crazed here.
Right. I can play on my harpsichord. I can go and play something there.
There you go.
That would be special. Thank you, Alon. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, everybody.
And by the way, you know, if any of the other clubs need help getting into Zoom or anything like that, I'd be happy to help out as well. If anybody needs
awesome. Thank you. I just wondered what Tim Jesson's experience was, and Phil Eskew. You know, they were with us for a while, and
I'm still here.
and we weren't able to hear from them. But I would just be interested as to what their experience was.
Right, so we can troubleshoot for next time and figure out how to, you know, get them comfortable and functioning as they wish.
And with Glenda, I wonder if it was a hardware issue or what. That
she said that her microphone wasn't working,
okay.
So she'll fix that before the next time.
Well, thanks again, Alon. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And I'm going to put
headset, you know, that's a way to get a microphone real quick. If you use a headset that has a microphone.
Is that Bill?
Natalie?
Megan Gearhart popped in for a second.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
Yeah. And Natalie, you may want to check your mic.
have a cord one on Thursday. I don't know why it's this way.
Something.
I don't know.
Okay, and I'm going to put this recording into Box so that we can share it with everybody.
Okay, I need help getting access to Box.
Yeah, I'll just send you a link, and then it'll be an
Great.
automatic download.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Signing out. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Soon.
Bye-bye.